Welcome to Community Valhalla number 4. I think it's 4. We did Takona, Schwerpy, Saturn, and now this week is Baron Dipitous, a man you may or may not know, a man you may or may not have heard of, a man you may or may not have interacted with, one of the most wholesome men in this Brawlhalla community, one of the most knowledgeable and influential bursts onto the scene, I should say. Baron Dipitous is a man who broke into the scene a couple years back. Not even a couple, last year maybe? Year before? A couple years back, I guess. 2019, I think it was. This is a person who, instead of taking the regular route for the game's community, where, you'd obsess over things like pro players, getting good at the game, content creation in general, this man made a whole website about the Brawlhalla lore. He linked every single piece of information, and he's just done an amazing job of becoming the game's, realistically, the game's librarian, which is really funny to me because he is, of course, a librarian in real life. Now, Baron will be joining me in call in a minute, but I'm hoping that you guys enjoy this one. This is a very special one for me. Baron is a good friend of mine. He's done D&D with me and is someone I highly respect and look up to in the community, which is rare to me due to being in this community so long. It's hard for me to find people to look up to other than the people who've been in longer. Can you make Baron dab? Baron will not be on camera, but I will be giving Mr. Baron a call in a very second. I'm gonna give him a quick, are you ready? Baron is a great man. He is someone, as I said, I've respected a lot. And will definitely be one of the more interesting, I think, ones for these Community Valhallas, as he definitely is a very open, intelligent man. I'm gonna give him a quick roll as he said yes. I'm gonna hope his audio isn't too bad. As I pick him up, he has answered. Hello, Mr. Baron.
Hello.
Hello. It's great to talk to you again. It's been over a month since we last voice called.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm hoping Twitch chat you can tell me if Baron is too loud or too quiet. But yeah, it's been a while. It's what, I think it was January 2nd or 3rd was when we last spoke, which was when we finished our Curse of Strahd campaign.
Yeah, we finished Curse of Strahd around that time, so yeah, it was a lot of fun.
But of course, you know how these go. I ask you a bunch of questions, people get to know some information about you, but also we play some Brawlhalla together, and hopefully you can take a game or two off of me, because
I'm hoping it. I'm not ashamed. I say it on my Twitter banner too. I'm not ashamed of my gold status, and I'm gold on a good day too.
Yeah.
So if I can get one stock from you, then I think that's emote worthy. If I can get a game from you, then that's like dab, popping off worthy. Whatever the kids say.
Gonna say, because you are, of course, I'm not gonna say your age. I don't actually know your age, but you're an older person in the community.
I am. I'm in my. I say late 20s, early 30s, but yeah.
Of course, where most of the community are now, they're early, mid-teens, or if you're looking at people who have been in as long as me, they're either mid-teens or they are early 20s, at most a mid-20 when you look at people like Sloshula and Left Stick Down, for example. But yeah, you are, of course, you're one of the older ones, but you're definitely still one of the more interactive ones, I'll say.
Yeah, I have been. Maybe part of it is just because I've never really got into the whole I played lots of Nintendo games as a kid or whatever, but I was never into the online gamer stuff until a few years ago. So maybe I'll become. Maybe I'll become more disillusioned to it later on. I don't know, but for now I've just been and also it's because I have a part-time job as well, and so that gives me a lot more freedom to just be able to just have fun on Twitter or Discord or wherever. Yeah.
If you want to grab the room, it is 388156.
156.
I thought you were on my friends list. You're actually not, and I'm going to be changing that.
All
right. I'm amazed after we have known each other and spoken to each other for well over a year now.
Right.
That you are not on my friends list. Because this is also coming up This is coming up to, I think, when you joined us almost a year ago when we announced the art contest for last year.
Yeah, I believe that was about. Well, that was around when Battle Pass 1, the first season.
I think that was about March.
Which was like. Was it March or May?
I think it was March or April. I think it might be May.
Oh, I think the announcement might have been like April or something.
Mm-hmm. But yes, rocking that part of creating a tag, because of course you are one of the Brawlhalla partners in the game. You're also, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the only Brawlhalla partner creator who isn't a specific like artist or pro player or like video maker, I'll say.
Yeah, and I mean there's a Discord. I mean, I've said this in public a few times, but there's a Discord server for the Brawlhalla partners, just so that we partners are able to like communicate effectively with the developers when we need to, get code when we need to, all that. And they have roles for everybody, and so you have the YouTuber role, the streamer role, the artist role, the BMG role for the devs, and then there's an other role. And I'm the only one with that role. It's just amazing. Other, which I think is funny. I don't care. It's fine. It's just funny to me.
See, what I'm expecting is maybe one day they'll realize that they're not gonna get any more others, and they'll just change it to the Baron role.
That's kind of what I was wondering, because I think at first, like the whole partnership program thing started like end of 2019, early 2020. That's when the Discord server was made. I think they maybe were anticipating, like, maybe there might be other, people who don't fit in the YouTuber, fan artist, or streamer category. Mm-hmm. And of course, they have invited a few new partners in the past few months. But so far I'm still the only quote unquote other, which we'll see. Maybe I'll start like asking the devs to say, hey, maybe I should just have Lore Master role or Baron role or whatever.
Just everyone else with their like very like obvious designated sections where like, oh yeah, this person as a YouTuber. Baron is just Baron. You are the Baron of the creators almost.
Basically,
yeah. So I did mention in the intro that you are a librarian. What made you go into being a librarian? Because that's of course like a very, I'll say, odd choice. At least in my own understanding of how people pick jobs.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, I didn't. So going from high school to college, I was very much into music composition, music performance, and things like that. I played cello and whatever, so I was thinking I was going to go into the School of Music of whatever college I was in, and that didn't really pan out at all. I was terrible with practicing. I was terrible with just like, I was not good enough for the prestigious School of Music that they had. So I just like, okay, well, what am I going to do with my life? Being a music teacher or music composer is not going to work. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing. So I let it stew for a little bit. I tried a bunch of different majors and classes and whatever. I didn't choose a major until the latter half of my second year in college, which is a bit later than a lot of people. And at around that time, I got a job at the campus library. I was like a reference assistant at that library. I helped out at like the desk, helping people find books and check out books and stuff. And it was also the cool part of the library, is like the music and humanities sections. And so I just thought, this is really cool. I could see myself working at a library. Is there like a degree for that librarians have to take? So I looked into it. I took even a library internship, and found out that there is, for most full-time library jobs in America, you're expected to get a master's degree in library and information science. So
I didn't know there was a degree of that, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, exactly. So it was when I was at that campus library job that I started exploring the possibility of, hey, I got a stock. Actually, no. Yeah, just reading some lore here.
I don't actually have that taunt. Oh no.
That's fine. I don't care. But anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of that exploration of like figuring out like, do I want to be a librarian? And I'm like, and even at that time, there was always like this sort of pipe dream. Like I always liked being creative, like writing stories or music or whatever. And so being a YouTuber, it's always been like like a pipe dream. Like it'd be cool if this happened or whatever. But I wanted to stay practical. And so I thought being a librarian, especially an academic librarian, a university librarian, would be great because there will always be universities, and contrary to what some people may think, libraries are far from obsolete. They are not just about books. There's a reason why it's called library and information science. It's not just about books, and yeah, you won, that's fine. It's not just about books, it's about information in general, and we are in an information age, and so librarians help people navigate information. They help people know how to use libraries, how to Google well, how to use Wikipedia effectively, how to find good sources, and things like that. So all the things about like, how to use information properly, how to, and everything, like honestly very vital. And that's the kind of stuff that librarians and information professionals get into. So, but yeah, and then specifically I wanted to be a university librarian. So, yeah, I got my MLIS, Master's of Library and Information Science degree this past May. So
Yes.
I'm out of school entirely. And, but yeah, I am looking for, I'm still kind of in a casual job search for a full-time job because I only have a part-time job now. But it's not that urgent because my wife has a good full-time job and we're living well within our means already. And I just get to have all the time to do all these crazy projects and interactions as Baron Dipitous. So
You do. Because, of course, Baron is a full online persona, which I think a lot of people don't realize when they, like, speak to you or see you that probably in real life there's very, very much not that much. Well, sorry. Let me rephrase that as I say there's not that much of an overlap between the person behind Baron Dipitous and Baron Dipitous.
yeah, I try, I try very hard to be like myself, but also like I also do kind of lean into the whole like posh, educated, white British guy or whatever that you see on the profile picture, because I kind of am to some degree, but I'm usually not as formal as people think I am. So, but yeah. But I do try to be myself all the time. Like I would say those things if we were in person.
Yes.
But I also tend to be more I also tend to be more prepared and more eloquent in writing than in speaking as well. So I think that helps a lot with people with that.
Yeah, I of course like even when like we played D&D for months, you kept this like the persona stayed up, but I felt like at times it dropped a little bit in terms of you sort of became a little bit more casual Baron around the Brawly guys with us. You might disagree.
So you felt there were times where I was actually more formal and stuff. That's interesting because I always thought that I was like myself, but maybe it's because sometimes I am just like more. I don't know.
Maybe
I always thought that I was pretty much myself, but I think I could possibly see where you're coming from there.
Maybe it's just a case of like early 9 a.m. D&D, Baron kind of sleepy.
That could be it too. Maybe I wasn't like always high energy because it was kind of in the mornings, and it's a Saturday morning for me, which was like a Saturday afternoon or evening for you.
Yes.
So I was still getting used to the day, but it was fine because I knew the module inside and out.
Yes, Curse of Strahd, you seem to enjoy it a lot with but also it was very fun just to play with you, being probably one of the best DMs I've had run a campaign for me.
Oh, thank you.
I'm trying to look at different things on my list that the people collected for me again.
Yeah. Your research team.
Yes.
I've seen all the other interviews you've done, and you have like a whole squad, going all investigation team on this.
Yes. They actually didn't. You're the person they got the least information on, probably because of unlike I'll say unlike Takona and Schwerpy and Saturn, you don't have as much personal outlet onto your platform, and so there's less information to grab. There's a lot of Baron likes the lore. And of course, actually saying that on the tweet Brawl League made, I think about a month ago, where it was like, "Give us your hot Brawlhalla, like your hottest Brawlhalla take." Your hottest take was the lore is better than every region.
Yeah, because that was a time when people were for some reason like saying EU is better, NA is better, and I'm just like I just thought it'd be fun to just say lore is better. The Brawlhalla universe region. Kind of thing.
The BHU is... It's actually a very interesting thing to me, because of course, you have this whole in-depth knowledge of lore, but do you have a favorite piece of lore? Or like favorite legend of lore, or even just a favorite realm for lore, I should say?
Oh man, yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, it's hard to say because there's so much that you can like... There's so much possibility. I love, as infuriating as it might be sometimes, I love how BMG keeps things pretty open. And so you can really delve into just about any bit of it. I will say I am a pretty big fan of the Fangwild in general. I think you and I would agree that we both think it's basically Yggdrasil, the realm between realms.
Yes.
I love that because you see some light references to that Fangwild connection, even in place, like Yumiko's lore, there's like the Fang Forest or things like that. And I love the story of the Fangwild getting corrupted because its daughter, its caretaker, is gone, and she for some reason is stuck in Valhalla, oddly enough, which is weird to me because like Valhalla should be connected to the Fangwild, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. And yet Azoth and Orion can both leave for some reason. I don't know. Maybe something about like being officially dead. But yeah, so the Fangwild definitely. I usually say Nyx is one of my favorites because her lore alone has expanded the universe exponentially. Because before her, you basically had the Norse mythology, and I think maybe Jala was before Nyx, so you had like a reference to Greek mythology as well. But thanks to Nyx, there are references to Greek, Norse, Egyptian, Celtic, Mesopotamian, and even fictional mythologies in her lore alone. And so, and then also Zariel has further expanded that to include Elysium, a sort of like celestial, almost biblical Dante's paradise kind of place. So yeah, there's all kinds of. So just that alone just tells me, okay, all the afterlives are here. Everyone is here. And then I do love the Orion Artemis thing because, what is Orion? What is Orion actually a virus upon this place? Yeah, just lots of possibilities everywhere. Those are a handful of places I really love.
Yeah.
I also do just love the fact that any genre is represented. Gothic horror, steampunk, cyberpunk, standard fantasy. It's all here. I love it.
I may have Z'd. I just missed that corner, but yeah, no. The lore is amazing to me with how in depth and how like well put together with continuity, even with trying to span multiple faiths, beliefs, and just information in general. Because it's like, oh cool, we have this whole like group of lore from like a gothic horror era being like Batavia.
Yeah. And then, I do love Batavia, yeah.
On top of that, we have like attached to it like the OEL, which has like more just I like to believe the OEL is medieval.
It's possible it like started medieval or soon before that, or maybe like it didn't become really organized until Sir Roland's time or something. But yeah. But
then even that, like Sir Roland, technically, going by titles, you can assume it to link to Jala with the fact that she is the Exalted Lion.
Yeah, like I assume that she is the like essentially the founder of it.
Yeah. And it's like the lore is so well connected and also so loosely connected that it creates this great whole thing for just you know, the best thing I can describe it as is, you know, that meme from The Office where there's like the dude pinning things to a wall and it's like he looks insane because he's trying to like work out all the connections. That's all I can just imagine of like the Brawlhalla lore fans, of course, because you manage the lore Discord with a couple others.
Yeah.
And like that's what I imagine like all of you guys are like every time like a new legend releases. Because I sometimes pop in there. I saw like when Mako released, everyone was like, hold on, is Thatch Poseidon? What is going on?
Oh yeah. People were going nuts over the whole Thatch Poseidon connection when Mako came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme of like, you know, Pepe Sylvia, I'm telling you, you know, the conspiracy board. I sometimes feel that way, honestly.
It's like, because realistically, when a new legend drops like Mako, you don't expect it to really affect any of the past legends, at least legends from like, you know, 2014 when Thatch released.
Yeah. So that was really cool to see.
Also, going on, I'm trying to see what else like I have. Because of course you mentioned about wanting to do some writing, and you do already. At this current point in time, you do some writing with is it Banner Maker Studios?
Banner Media Studios, yeah.
I apologize. Yeah, Banner Media Studios.
That's fine. Yeah, not a problem.
Sorry, it's literally written in my list of just Banner, and I was like, it's not just Banner. I know it had an M.
We sometimes do call it just Banner, like internally, but yeah, Banner Studios, Banner Media Studios.
Yes.
Yeah, so that same thing.
Because of course
that
you
was. Yeah, I did some writing and directing for them, and I still am actually. There are a few like radio show projects that I'm working on in there.
Mm-hmm. You're because as well as all of that, you are the one of the main. I assume there's multiple writers. I've never actually asked this question. You're one of the main writers for Brawlhalla Underworld.
Oh, so yeah, for Brawlhalla Underworld, it's where that project is now is a bit interesting, but for at least for the first 10 episodes that I had planned, I was the one who wrote all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then I did bring in a few other writers for like, you know, afterwards because people we haven't like we started with the second season, but we're also having a few issues with getting the first season completed. So but yeah, they're just kind of like Brawlhalla Underworld is just generally like a project that I've been like, you know, working on as like a writer, a director, I guess producer, and all those kinds of things. But yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to me how many like fingers you've got in like different pies with like projects because although you have this many projects going on, you give each of them the same amount of attention and love. I'd like to say, from what I've seen at least.
I do try to, certainly. I do give, you know, and there have been a few projects that like haven't really worked out as well. Like there was one time where I wanted to try to do last year I tried to get an audio drama version of a webcomic that I really like, Kirk's Princess Club, but that just wasn't working out, and so I eventually had to scrap it, unfortunately. But you know, with that or anything else, I do certainly try, and like that Cursed Princess Club thing was the first time I was attempting something like that. And then Brawlhalla Underworld came along, and I started to do a little bit better with that. So yeah, especially this past year, I've been really impressed with how many. I don't even know how I got myself into all this stuff, but yeah, here I am.
I know that feeling.
I just kind of think like, you know, I'll try it. You know, it seems fun. I'll try it. If it works, great. If not, then I'll have learned something, and it won't be a total failure, and I'll do better next time, basically. So, I this year I am trying to be a bit better about managing all these projects. I've said like back in January, like I have a YouTube video where I talk about 2020 and like what my plans are for 2021, and how this quarter, like until about like the first 3 months of this year, I'm trying to like have a quarter of completion where I just wrap up some of that creative clutter I had last year, so that I can have more room this year for more exciting things.
Yes.
So that way I can better manage myself, because I have a better sense now of what I'm capable of and what I can try to push the boundaries on now. And it was also just sort of like in the midst of me trying to figure out what I, as a quote unquote content creator, was. And so I just thought, okay, I'll finish what I've started, and then after I finish all those, you know, little things and clean things up, then I will focus on just like being a good community, community member in Brawlhalla, and other. Why did I let that hit me? And just let I always have ideas for other projects, but just as I've kind of like thought about it and asked around, like asking people like what is Dipitous to you? I've had a few people say in pretty well that I'm not really, people, as far as I can tell, you and others can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I can tell, people see me as not a YouTuber, not necessarily a streamer, though I have done both technically. Not necessarily just basically just like a member of the community who's a lore master and who's just kind of there, and like a fun. Like my niche seems to be like lore, and I'm like more mature as well. Like I'm older, like that's what I mean by that.
Yes.
And so that because of that, my approach to Brawlhalla and the whole community is probably rather different to most other people in the community. So those are the kind of things that I focus on, not so much content, but just like being me, and like I think I got so many like followers from Twitter initially because of all of the metadev giveaways I did for Battle Pass stuff, but I think people have stayed because of like they seem to like Baron as like me for me essentially. So I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I mean, yeah, such are my thoughts.
They came for the codes and they stayed for the man.
That's the impression I get. Like, again, I could be wrong in some cases, and I'm fine with that. If you're here, I'm happy to have you. But that's the impression that I get from the people that I interact with more often. So, yeah.
I'm trying to think of what was like my first interaction, or not even interaction, but first like time I saw you.
Was it when I entered the back when the lore server was private, when I first entered that or whatever?
Probably. Very much probably a case of like back when like you were working on the website as your initial project.
Yeah.
Because of course, before that, Piox, myself, and a couple of the other like lore people back then had a Google Doc where it was just the name of the legend and then just like small bits of information, like any nicknames they have, who else they've met but in Valhalla, and who else who they're friends of in. And then who like they knew before Valhalla, and that was like really the like extent of the doc.
Yeah.
And then I think Piox came to me with the Reddit thing, because I think you posted to Reddit about it. Back when I was a moderator there, as well as Piox, who still is, and it was a case of like, hey, this man is making a full documentation of basically like a Wikipedia of the Brawlhalla lore. We should probably let him into the Discord. And we're like, yeah, we should. He's amazing at this. And then, like looking at it, do you have Magyar on there yet? Because I know that was one of your project plans. I think that's for the 31st.
I'm still trying to update it. So the fundamental. So yeah, I still have where I'm at now. Like I still need to update a couple minor things for Jaehyun, and then Mako and Magyar's lore is on there. I just need to add the connections and context sections, which takes a little bit of research, but it's not that bad. And so, again, part of my quarter of completion is to, it's unfortunate that I've let the wiki sort of like go under my radar for a while in favor of other projects. So I'm trying to get caught up in that. But yeah, so for the very basics of the newest Legends, you can see it there, and then I hope to um, uh, update that in the next in the next days and weeks.
I mean, I feel like even though, like, as you said, it like is going under your radar, it's still a massive project, and it's understandable to have it slip it like once or twice, but you're still going to, as long like you're still maintaining it and you're still like keeping it to a very high standard, that the quality of each page is amazing.
Thank you.
I also know that sorry, I was about to say that you also want, like, at least when this tweet was made, want full voice acting added to Brawlhalla, and
that would be cool. Yeah.
I'd also be down for that. But what was really funny is the one above just says is a Brawlhalla partner as like one of my facts about you, which we've already spoken about. But its source is just dude, trust me. And it's like
as a librarian, that's my favorite source ever.
Like, because that's the thing is like every time they give me these like notepad files of just information, they always give me a source of like what's happened. Or like where things happened. Usually it's a Twitter link, or maybe it's from like somewhere else.
That's good. That's I'm glad you did that.
But like, so of course I know the stuff either comes from you or another source that like knows about it.
Yeah.
And it's really funny that that's the one time I haven't seen an actual source link, and instead it just says sources, dude, trust me, and I love it. Because
I mean, it's weird because I don't think it's ever like, I don't think it's ever said on like the official Brawlhalla website that I'm listed as a Brawlhalla partner, but like it's kind of a thing that you kind of know. Like I have the title there.
Yeah.
I was involved in the Battle Pass reveals.
I was gonna say, I think that's the only time it like is ever shown is when BMG are like, hey, yeah, go to our website and check out the Brawlhalla partners for their reveals for the Battle Pass, which I'm so excited for season 3 when that comes out.
Oh, I'm quite excited myself.
I'm assuming like here's the thing is every time like we get close to this, like we're getting like probably a week, maybe 2-3 weeks away from it, or, like the reveal's starting. I have a feeling that you guys are already discussing who gets where, like who gets what and what goes where, and I love it because in my head I'm just like they know things and they can't tell us, and I know some of them hurt from this because I know a lot of people who do enjoy talking to the community, especially the partners, love to do reveals, and they love it when they can like show stuff off, and knowing that they can't yet is really funny to me.
Yeah, I wish there was more I could say about that, but
I mean,
yeah,
I'm
excited.
Just like you say it every time is I'm excited. It's gonna be amazing. I'm not expecting the one I hope for because I personally hope for like as I mentioned on Twitter like a week or two ago, a D&D themed battle pass because
that would be so cool.
So the reason I want this is because I know some of the devs from BMG used to work at Hi-Rez because they're both Atlanta-based studios.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And Hi-Rez in Paladins a couple like 6 months ago or whatever had a I can't remember what it was called, but it was a D&D themed battle pass where they had
really I was not aware of that.
So they had like titles and stuff, and one of the titles in the battle pass was like only casts Fireball, which is the one I use. They had like a border with it. They had like skins for all of a lot of their champions and stuff. And they're actually some of my favorite skins for the game. But it's like I would love to see how Brawlhalla would do it, and so that's what I'm hoping for. But that's what I'm gonna hold out for a while.
Yeah, I will say. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I will say regarding Brawlhalla and D&D, I did mention this idea with you, and one thing that I do hope to, like something I'm looking into for after my quarter completion, like after clearing some of this creative clutter that I have, updating my wikis, so on and so forth, is I see a lot of potential for a Brawlhalla Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and I think there could certainly be a lot of interest for that. And even maybe having like multiple DMs and like different groups that interact into different sections of the Brawlhalla universe. And so that is certainly something that I hope to like look into a bit more, because I think that could be something really fun. Where like if we do get enough people, if we do get enough dungeon masters and players consistently, then people could follow whichever groups they wanted and whichever storylines they wanted, and there could be like some summaries of like what's happening in the universe, in the Brawlhalla D&D universe so far and stuff like that. So one of several ideas that I have, but yeah, I was thinking of that because you brought up D&D.
Yes, I was gonna say, continuing on the D&D thing before I move to a different topic, I know you recently cameoed in a D&D campaign with Hyena.
You heard about that, huh?
Hyena and I like talk about D&D a lot, and so he told me a couple days ago, just before he told me like the Saturday before it happened or whatever, like that that you cameoed in it as Baron Dipitous, which was really funny to me.
As Baron Dipitous, yeah, that was funny. So yeah, Hyena just kind of like said, "Hey, are you free at this time?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I could." He basically like, I have known for a while that Hyena had his own like D&D like campaigns. He had, and actually I think a lot of people who play in that campaign that you mentioned are connections from Brawlhalla Underworld, or maybe before, I don't know, but which is cool. If Brawlhalla Underworld did nothing else, it created I think it created more friendships and relationships in the community, which is great.
Yeah.
But in any case, yeah. So he kind of just like, and like even before that, so I mean, he gave me some backstory, like you'll be in a library, you'll appear as your like kind of that Brawlhalla like 3 heads tall chibi style whatever, so I'll be disproportionate to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I got sent that image as well.
And then, he told me, like, he gave me a few snippets that were pertinent to the campaign. Like, they were looking for this hag named Gwyneth Paltrow and all whatever weird stuff is happening there. But, like, because I was a librarian and in a library, then I was like, I was able to provide the information. But I was kind of like there, like, oh, hello. And, like, Baron somehow knew the names of the characters and stuff, which is funny because I was friends and acquaintances with the players. But also, like, even before this, like, Hyena and I had kind of, like, sort of organically developed a fictional animosity between the character of Hyena and the character of Baron. In fact, Lieutenant Lore even made a lot of really adorable sketches of like Hyena versus Baron. And so I think Hyena kind of leaned into the idea that Hyena is this pink hyena eldritch being, this chaotic eldritch being, who is recognizable by his high-pitched laugh. Which Hyena himself has, the person, and so Hyena is the eldritch entity Hyena is canon to Hyena's D&D campaign already, and so it would make sense that Baron would also be a sort of dimension hopping, I guess, eldritch or like otherworldly entity, and like there are a couple times where there's a high-pitched laughter like heard in the background, and Baron said, "Oh, I'd better go before he finds me," kind of a thing. So that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that.
Another fact I have about you is you have a pin collection. I do have to ask.
I didn't.
Are there any Brawlhalla pins in that collection, or is that like a future grab for you?
That is a future grab for me. I have not as yet been to any physical Brawlhalla events, unfortunately. And I have not. I mean, I haven't seen any place we could buy them online either. And so I'm basically holding out for like the next time I'm able to go to, like either a BCX or like when they go to a PAX or something, to a convention, and then I can try to like get pins there. I would very much like to get. I have I went through a lot of like collecting phases as a kid, collecting rocks, collecting pins, whatever. And so I just have a lot of pins from like over the years. I don't really collect pins as much anymore, but if there's a cool pin like like Disneyland pins or something, then I'll grab a couple or something.
I very much have to send you a Brawl League pin in the future.
The Brawl League logo looks really cool, and I would love that. So at some point, I would be happy to see if I can bring all my pins out and make a picture of it and post that on Twitter. I don't know if like every single pin I've ever owned will be there, but like 90 to 95% of them will be there, and so I can certainly do that, because I'm sure at least a few people are curious about that.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would love that. I want to see the pins you have.
A lot of them are Disney pins, I will say. Like, you know, because me and my family have been to Disneyland a few times and Disney World. So every time we went there, we always did the whole pin trading and pin collecting thing. So, but there are a few like odds and ends of like, you know, pins from like Yellowstone National Park or something. But yeah, I just think pins look cool. Pins,
are awesome.
badges, whatever.
You know who will love to talk to you about Disney World, though? Or Disney in general? Batonic.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember of. I don't interact with Batonic directly a lot. Like I see him a fair amount of times on Twitter, of course, but I vaguely remember him like being a Disney fan. I think. So.
He has on his car just a Minnie Mouse like sticker. I know
Nice.
that for a fact because I questioned it when I hung out with him just before BCX 2017 because he picked me up from the office.
Yeah.
Ooh, I thought you'd go low.
I try to be unpredictable in my offstage traveling. one of the few like smart things I do during a match.
But as well as your pin collection, you are a at least moderate fan of Pokemon, correct?
So I've been off and on, basically. The best way that I put it, anyway, is that I am a Gen 1, Gen 8 fan.
Yes.
I say that because I remember very vividly when Pokemon cards were first a thing in like the 90s, 90s, early 2000s. And so, like, in elementary or middle school or whatever, like, I remember when Pokemon cards were banned, like how Fortnite was banned from school. Like, Pokemon cards were banned for the same reason. Like, I remember it was a whole thing.
I remember the same thing.
And so, I was heavily into Pokemon. The TV show, we had Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, like for the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, or just Game Boy, I guess. We watched the TV show. One of my siblings also collected Pokemon cards. And we played the Pokemon card game a lot. Then again, we were also into Digimon at the time. And I remember seeing the first Pokemon movie, the 2D animated version of the first Pokemon movie in theaters, and getting a special Pokemon card for that. So,
yes, Mewtwo Strikes Back. It was.
Yeah, that was called. Yeah, the thing with like the Mewtwo and the clones and everything.
Yep.
It was on the new island. Yeah. Yes. So I remember when that was a thing, and then I think I remember seeing like the second Pokemon movie with Lugia and the three legendary birds in theaters.
Pokemon 2000, I think it was called.
Yeah, so it was actually around 2000 when Johto was starting to become a thing. When I thought, what, you can't have more than 151 Pokemon? That's just like too many or whatever. And also I as a kid or teenager, I started to kind of like lose interest anyway and have my interest go into other things. So I never got into Gold and Silver. I never got into Johto or Pokemon beyond that. And so that's kind of how it was. And like I became aware of like the various other like Pokemon generations, right? And then around when I was in college, or like even the past couple of years, that's when like, first of all, Pokemon Go. I was way into that because they only had Gen 1 Pokemon for a while.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This is awesome. And I walked a lot in college. I didn't have a car while I was in college. So that just made it all the better. So when Pokemon Go was a huge thing in 2016, I did that a lot. And then I think there were a couple of things that got me back into Pokemon a little bit. Not as much as I used to now, as I used to in the 90s, but like Pokemon Sword and Shield looked really cool. I've always loved the UK, and you know, and so I bought Pokemon Shield. My wife and I have been playing Pokemon Shield off and on. I completed the main game of Pokemon Shield, but yeah. And then also, over a year ago, someone wanted me to DM a D&D campaign based on Pokemon.
Yes.
And there's a fan-made Pokemon tabletop RPG, or a couple of them. And so I made and that's a lot of what got me back into Pokemon a little bit. Was just this, and that campaign lasted over a year. It was a lot. Like, it was very involved. I created my own custom region called the Barov region. I took the map of Barovia and Curse of Strahd, flipped it upside down. I flipped it upside down, and then I just put additional towns and features on it and stuff, and made it its own region with the theme of mystery and ghost and stuff. The Barov region, and I gave each. I had unique gym leaders. I gave each gym leader its own like unique challenge during each battle. I made the Elite Four secret until the very end. I did all sorts of crazy things. I did not invent new Pokemon though. I just put in Pokemon that the players really liked, legendaries and otherwise. But yeah, that's when I really got into Pokemon and world building and stuff. Just this past year, with the campaign was called Pokemon Crux. So yeah.
I'm agreeing with Hyena in chat right now that I love and I hate the image of Barovia as a Pokemon region. That is the most creative region I have heard of for a while, and I love it.
I actually made Curse of Strahd canon to the Barov region, except it's like over 1,000 years in the past. So the Barov region is no longer cursed, but there's like an ancestor to Strahd. No, I'm sorry, a descendant, a far-off descendant to Strahd, there who became like the main antagonist of the whole thing. His name was Viscount Magnus von Stradovich, and he was like the leader of Team Cross or whatever. And yeah. So yeah, I had all kinds of crazy stuff all over the place. Like I have a whole like document that has all of my notes about the Barov region. It goes on for dozens of pages.
Mm-hmm. That is insane to me that you have this much dedication and like time to put into a form of Pokemon to just turn it into just like. Because of course, I think you've said before that Curse of Strahd is your favorite campaign. Is it not?
It is. It is definitely one of my favorite. I mean, there are lots that I really, really like. Curse of Strahd. I just have a special place in my heart for Curse of Strahd because it was the first 5th edition module I'd purchased, and I've run it the most amount of times to all the other ones. And there are several reasons why it's my favorite. I also love classic Gothic horror, the classic Frankenstein, Dracula kind of thing, Cthulhu mythos, and all that.
Yes, I was gonna say with your love for Gothic horror, and I'm assuming mysteries in general.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on Candlekeep Mysteries coming out later?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that book.
It's like March,
for several reasons. It's March. I think Ides of March or something, middle of March. Yeah. So not only is it about mysteries, not only is it a series of adventures, kind of like Ghosts of Saltmarsh or Tales of the Yawning Portal, except written by not Wizards of the Coast people. I think they have like big members of the huge like D&D people doing it, but also it all starts with a book or a library. So obviously I'm gonna like that.
Yes.
Candlekeep is a big library in one of the D&D worlds. So
it's in
so I'm excited about that.
Right?
In the Forgotten Realms, in the Sword Coast, that world. That's where Candlekeep is, and it's a big monastery library place. I know that because it appears in the adventure Descent into Avernus, and so that's how I know about it. I'm not huge in the lore of the Forgotten Realms because it's that lore's been around for decades, and I just can't keep up with that. But I know a little bit because I've read the 5th edition modules, and that's about it. But also, I think it's really cool that I think at least one of the dungeons or one of the adventures is like wheelchair accessible because there's like a D&D wheelchair going on, which I think is awesome. So, I mean, I'm mostly excited because new D&D book and libraries and mysteries. So,
see, I really love the discussion. I say discussion, the argument of like having a wheelchair in D&D because I feel like there's that whole idea of people like, well, you can just make a perfect person. Why would you have them require a wheelchair? And it's like, because what if I want to have a wheelchair?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's something to be said for making your character interesting with by giving, one classic example I think is a lot of franchises like League of Legends or whatever, or even Brawlhalla actually, they make a character blind
Yes,
to
like
kind of like
Yumiko.
accentuate their other features and make them sound even like they, there's a lot more. There's a lot more to kind of like either disability or other aspects of that really defines you as a person beyond just the ability or disability itself. So and plus having a dungeon with only, for example, with no stairs and only ramps, like there are some things you can do with that you couldn't do with the dungeon that only had stairs.
Oh, of course. Like,
but,
first
but,
of all,
but yeah.
I was gonna say, first of all, like things can move around that dungeon so much easier.
You can have like rolling balls or barrels, whatever. You can have like Rube Goldberg machines with ramps. That's just one idea. I can't, I'm sure there's lots of other things if I dedicated myself to thinking about it, but right now I'm trying not to die.
I'm gonna make
really?
This has your name in it.
Does it? Does it now? Yes it did. Okay, fine. You have one stock left. Is it possible? Is it possible to like get you to? Nope. Oh my gosh.
Wait, I might be dead.
No way.
I'm actually dead.
No way. No way. Yes. I won something.
Oh, Baron, that was great.
I shouldn't have won that, but I did.
I mean, I genuinely ran out of options. That wasn't even me giving you the win. That was I messed up. That was great.
And I got it on random. I got Scarlet on random. That's hilarious. It's been a while since I brought this thing out. But yeah, apart from Brawlhalla lore, D&D is another subject I could talk about for the longest time.
I know, like D&D is, because of course it's not a game I don't have a lot of experience DMing, and I have been DMing now for just about a year. And I still, of course, feel like I'm messing up, but like, it's such a fun game. It's for even when you do make mistakes, it can be fun.
Oh yeah.
But going back to some other little facts about you, you are one thing you're known for in the community, right? Is the fact that you do weekly giveaways with your lore-based quizzes. And here's the thing: is you've probably noticed I've participated in a couple of them.
Right.
I don't know if you actually do get to see all of the names that put in.
I see the email addresses, and I don't usually pay that much attention unless I'm looking for like duplicate emails in them or something.
Yes.
But sometimes I do recognize someone in there, which is really cool.
And your quizzes are very hard.
Really, thank you. Like I've got people have been saying this one's easy, this one's hard, and the only difficulty thing I try to keep in mind is if it's for a bigger prize, like a meta dev or like a cosmetic that you can normally buy, or a crossover especially, then I just make those harder just because it's more valuable. But that's about it.
I was gonna say, I think the last one I participated in, I don't participate a lot because I feel like there's not really a lot of point. Although like, ooh,
I was not expecting that.
There's not really a lot of point for me to participate because I usually have a lot of the cosmetics that you're giving away anyway, and I feel like it's more fair to let someone else have that opportunity. Was the Ben 10 crossover.
Right.
And that really stumped me at points.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I made riddles for that. I remember.
Yes.
Those are always a lot of fun. I usually do some sort of like riddle, or the Laura Croft one was more involved, but usually fun riddles that have just like really random, more obscure references to something. So I have too much fun sometimes with those.
Is there actually a point of too much fun when it comes to things like
That is true. Quizzes? That is true. I usually only say too much fun when I'm just like people are like, this is too hard, and I'm like, well, I enjoy it. I get really into this kind of thing. So sucks to suck, I guess. If you wanted it that badly, you'd find the answer.
Yeah. I've been told to drop my weapon. But I'm trying to think of other things to ask you because I've already run through most of my sheet. Because there's a lot of information about you that exists in the like just around the Brawlhalla like community and stuff, but there's very little information at the same time as there being a lot of information, if that makes sense.
If you're talking about the fact that like I am very selective on what I reveal about myself personally. I'm guessing you might be talking about that kind of thing.
I'm actually not. I'm more on about just the fact that there's a like the information about you that is out. It's a lot of the time it's reiterated information, and so like I have a total of let me just 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. I have a total of like 25 pieces of information about you on her. Whereas like I think like for Schwerpy I had like 60, right?
Oh, interesting.
Because a lot of the information about you is just either obviously common knowledge or just isn't really a surprising fact. Which is why I found it really funny with the Do Trust Me Brawlhalla partner one, because you are one of the most public and prominent Brawlhalla partners, I'd say. But
that's interesting. I never thought about that aspect of it.
I do have another question for you.
Oh, okay.
What is your favorite Brawlhalla legend?
I think you actually asked.
I asked you that in DMs, yes, because I wanted to use some promo graphic.
Yeah. So yeah, my main is Scarlet. I mainly because I love steampunk. I think steampunk is really cool. I think Hammer and Lance are fun weapons. And Scarlet has some cool things going on with her lore. And then, I mean, again, it's a whole thing of like, there's something really great about every single legend. That's the hard thing. But Scarlet and then Fate and Magyar would be my top three because Scarlet, for several reasons, I feel like I'm best at Scarlet. I also do like Yumiko a lot as well to play. I like Fate a lot. I'm terrible with Scythe, but I love Orb, and Fate is just such a cool character. I loved when BMG had Fate, like when Fate took over Brawlhalla's Twitter. Like, that was amazing. I love stuff like that. And her, she was just instantly a fan favorite because, like, she's so fun. And the fact that she was teased in Isaiah's lore, like, a while back as well, was a lot of fun. So, and then also, I just think Magyar is such a cool concept. Magyar takes a lot of, like, gothic horror tropes, and also kind of, like, the gothic horror uniqueness in that as well, with, you know, being... there's some odd Hungarian ties in there. Stradsky, the multiple warriors in armor, filling out the baritone section of the Spooktacular Choir in Valhalla, which I also love that there's a Spooktacular Choir in Valhalla in the first place. It's like the Valhalla Ladies Book Club.
Yes.
So
I do love. Go ahead.
I guess I also love like Scarlet for the fact that. One of the only references to like libraries or like books or whatever is in Scarlet lore, where there is a ladies' book club.
Yes. I was gonna say one of my favorite things about the Brawlhalla lore is it gives a look into the legends not only before their time in Valhalla, but like behind the battlefield, right? Because
I love
time,
those last paragraphs. Yeah.
Most of the time we get these like really nice tidbits of information, such as the Val and Bryn, the fact that they watch movies together.
Kung Fu movies, yeah.
The Dusk and Kaya thing, where it's like Dusk doesn't actually give Kaya presents or cookies.
Yep.
I remember putting that as a trivia on one of the Brawlhalla tournament streams. because I work backstage, of course, as you know. I'm the person who does like the ticker, and I put all the information of like who won what matches, and then little tidbits of information about the current piece of the game. So things like what's on sale. I also try and I use trivia to break up those sections. Right. And I remember one of the time I put that Dusk doesn't give Kaya cookies or presents.
Yep. And
someone posted about it on Reddit. And they created a whole post that was just angry about Dusk not giving presents.
It's almost like they thought. It's almost like you didn't know Dusk was a bad person. So like, yeah, that's funny.
Now, so of course Scarlet being your favorite legend, and Magia and Fate following it behind. Is that like your favorite in terms of design as well as just legend in general? Or is that, do you have someone different if you want to just say like their visual design?
Just design? Oh, that's a good question. I would say they're definitely up there with design. I also forgot about Azoth. Azoth is just a really cool, like he has cool design, really hilariously awesome lore, and also he has a Baron skin. So actually, you know what? Why don't I just, I had to, had to get it.
That is the one I used to use until this one released.
That is a cool one. Like he has some really cool skins. Design wise, let's see. I know there are lots of cases where, in terms of design, BMG usually visually leans very much into very much leans into the archetype they're going for, right? Bodvar looks very much like a Viking. Cassidy looks very much like a cowgirl. But also they like being quite creative about things as well. Like I'm sure, I think like Nyx's concept was like Reaper basically, but Nyx looks really, really interesting. I really love Nyx's designs. In fact, my wife is seriously considering what she would need to do a Nyx cosplay at some point. So,
yes.
And then, but also another example is like Jae-Yun's concept is Korean sellsword, like Korean mercenary, right? But he has a missing eye. He got some really cool there's little cool details on his weapons and his outfit and stuff, and his lore ties into some of that as well. So yeah, Jae-Yun looks a lot more interesting than a typical sellsword might, I think, for example. So, why did I spot dodge? Oh, that was so stupid.
Anyway, no, I completely agree with all of that.
That's what I have for designs. That's what I have for designs and stuff. If I look more closely, I could probably give you different answers, but those are my answers right now. Scarlet's design looks really cool. I'm glad they went with the fancy British lady instead of the explorer lady thing. Adds a little more depth to her character, I think. And yeah, Azoth. Fate is just fabulous, no matter what she's wearing, and Magyar just looks awesome.
Magyar's great. Genuinely one of my favorite designs for a while to come out of the stuff. However, you mentioned Nyx and how their whole plan was just a Reaper. What's really funny is Nyx was in development when Ulgrim released. And the only reason I know that is because Derailed. Oh no. Derailed, one of the developers and one of people who works on the signatures. I remember during the reveal stream for Ulgrim, mentioned Reaper. He's like, "Yo, are we going to show off the Reaper?" And you can see the length in distance in terms of age between Ulgrim and Nyx, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9
yeah,
legends
that's a
apart.
lot. Almost a whole row away.
It was almost a year apart.
Wow.
Ulgrim was 2016, March. Nyx, I think Nyx was February 2017.
Huh.
I'd have to check my document on that, but Scythe was their first big weapon out of realistically their first big weapon out of release or out of closed beta. because although Gauntlet's released midway through, like Scythe was their biggest like, yo, look at how cool we're going with this. And I feel like it was like a very much a case of them trying their hardest to make it a really good weapon and really fun weapon, and they did. Actually,
Sorry, what, you that was about like gauntlets, right?
that was sort of just
Or
talking
Scythe.
about the whole fact that Nyx released almost a year after her.
Yeah, like
reveal,
there are a
or,
lot.
like,
I had
accidental
no
tease.
idea there's so much development behind Nyx. I think Nyx is a great character, and I was very happy to finally have gotten like this from the last.
Yes.
This skin from the last battle pass. So sick, but yeah.
I have a question, because of course it doesn't show it because you are using partner creator, but what is your Veteran of Asgard level?
It is 2, I believe.
Interesting.
It might be 3 soon. I'm not sure. I think I started playing Brawlhalla in. I started with Brawlhalla around the time that Isaiah came in, but I wasn't like really active until about Lin Fei or Zariel. So 2018. Despite my old age, I often feel fairly young in the community because, and that maybe also be another reason why I'm so like active in the community, because it still feels, everything still feels very new to me. But there's a lot of people like you, or like some of the other people you've talked to, like Schwerpy and others, who have been in it since 2016 or even 2015 or goodness 2014. So still an exciting, very exciting world for me in general. But yeah, I haven't been playing Brawlhalla as long as people might think. I just have Veteran of Asgard 2. In fact, I can change it momentarily. Just show, where is the thing? Yeah, so there you go. Veteran of Asgard 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because of course I didn't know you were a newer person. It's just I of course I didn't know how new you were, and so I knew it had been like at least a year, maybe 2 years. 'Cause you, of course,
About 2 years.
Yeah, you didn't come.
Maybe going on 3, I think.
Yeah, you're at least over 2 years old if you have vet 2. So you're in your 3rd year. But
Yeah.
this is about it for me asking you questions. I'm wrapping up everything I have. It's now become a thing, I guess, where I ask you if there's any questions you want to ask me, because this
yeah.
started with Tech, and then Schwerpy, and then Saturn. So
Questions for you. Let's see. I guess one thing that. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, they don't, of course, have to be Brawlhalla. They don't have to be Brawlhalla related. They can be anything related.
Sure, sure. You're looking good, by the way, with like you're clean shaven and everything.
Thank
a
you.
bit of a surprise when I first saw that on Twitter, but anyway, yeah. I personally am not a fan of facial hair on myself. I think a lot of people really pull it off, but I probably wouldn't.
I
That's
mean, I
why
cut off half my hair with the shave as well, so it really is a different time for me.
Nice. But yeah, one question, one thing I've often been curious about is like, especially since like, it's been like just a short while since you've finally got ownership of Brawl League, which I'm very happy for you. I know at least to some degree what that means to you and to Brawl League in general.
Yes.
So I was very happy about that. And also just like ever since this past BCX and maybe Mammoth Cup or something, I've been like I've been paying slightly more attention to the esports scene, just a little bit. A lot of it's still over my head, but like I've been following a little bit more of that, and like, and also, this is getting to a question, I swear, but
It's all good. It's all good.
But also like recently I've taken to following some of the like orgs out there as well, just because it looks I'm interested to see like what Brawl League and also like organizations like Triton 9, Global Breakout, Mega Hulks, and others like do and stuff. I'm curious, like actually, so 2 questions coming from that. First of all, do you see like to what extent do you see yourself like, or Brawl League like interacting with these organizations in the near future? And I guess that's the main question I have. Yeah, as I think about it, like,
so
I'm curious how you see them and how you see them interacting with like Brawl League and in the Brawlhalla community.
So I have this want to be able to interact with all of the orgs as Brawl League, and maybe do some stuff with these other small orgs, because of course we are now technically an org with our sponsorship of a player, which was a very informal, hey, we want to buy a friend of ours a laptop because he can't play anymore because his broke.
Oh, okay. Like I didn't realize that was like an actual like. Oh, that's cool. It's
yeah.
an
So
actual, like sponsorship. Like this person is part of Brawl League as a player, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Magi is like our only planned player and only real intention we're going with. But the whole intention for it was basically, hey, he needs a laptop or something to use to play. Brawl League can fund this quite easily, and he'll just play under Brawl League. And it's like a form of like advertising for us for streams, because we know he'll be able to get onto streams at times.
Cool.
However, Brawl League has a very grim future ahead of it. It has been discussed and worked out that I am probably going to be the final owner of Brawl League. And my end goal for where I want to be in the community is possibly BMG.
That would be really cool.
However, that end goal does result in Brawl League dissolving. So that's something I've like that is in my cards to work out how to resolve that issue.
So that kind of sounds like what was going on with like the creation of Bagel, right?
Yes.
Like, weren't a lot of people involved in Bagel and like the production side of things? They were part of Brawl League for a time, but then BMG just kind of said, you know what, we're gonna hire you on, and
so the Bagel stuff is like partially stemmed from the whole ownership issue of Brawl League, but mainly came from a case of they needed a clean slate and a legal team, or like a legal company even, to do what they were doing for BMG.
As they were growing as a company.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Bagel is like what was created from that with Left Stick, V, and Toast, all former admins or heads of Brawl League during the time just before, like with Antipop, and then after Antipop passed, like they took charge. But so the only reason they can really do that as like that is because they're hired by BMG, whereas we actually have had staff move on from Brawl League into BMG, such as Calamari Pop, Sloshula, technically even Left Stick is now BMG, Ice Pingu as well, and with those, like, we do see a case of they've had to leave control of community because, of course, the devs can't be the ones in charge of areas in the community.
Yeah.
So that's the grim future I have to deal with, and I'm trying my hardest to make sure no matter what the end result is, Brawl League doesn't, like, just die a sad death, I should say.
That whatever vacuum comes, that there's something that whatever Brawl League has been in the community, that you'll be able to find some kind of way to still satisfactorily fill that.
Yes. I don't ever want that gap, because Brawl League is like the lead mentoring group, and I don't ever want to like have that gap just exist. And so I want to make sure whatever happens in the future, that slot is filled and maintained.
I see.
However,
I certainly wish you all the best of luck in that. And if there is ever anything that I can do, there probably isn't a lot that I can do. But as a friend, as a member of the Brawlhalla community, I know I don't do much with Brawl League, but I'm very interested to see how things develop and everything.
Thank you very much, Baron. But however, that is going to have to be it for me and you talking. I hope you have enjoyed being on here with me. It's been great talking to you and great. It's like, I always love these because it's like, as I've said before, we just get a look at the community in a different fashion, and it's really nice to be able to talk to people like you, who are, of course, very much behind a screen where people get to see it, and it's nice that people can come to these, and it's what I'm hoping for is eventually, if these ever do like grow to be really big, it will definitely be a case of there's enough backlog that people can just go back and watch like a bunch of them and learn about the people they want to learn about. It's meant to be like a documentation of players and people in the community.
I do appreciate documentation, as someone who cares about...
As a librarian, I can understand that.
As a librarian, the organization and preservation of information. And actually, recently, I've been looking into like the history of Brawlhalla as well, and there's like all the information about the history of the community is so scattered as well.
Yes.
So that's maybe there should be a wiki for that as well. I'm not going to commit to anything like that until for now, but lots of fascinating stuff. So It's been an absolute pleasure, honestly.
Yes. One final question.
And,
Who are you wanting to see on this? Like, who are people you know or are friends with that you want to see on this this stream?
See, the old tag a friend routine.
Kind of tag a friend, but also maybe not a friend. Maybe there's someone you want to see that isn't your friend. Maybe you'll just want to know more about a person.
Right, yeah. That's really hard because there's so many, right? Let me try to think of people that like maybe wouldn't be so obvious. Oh gosh. Trying to let's see who's someone that like maybe people haven't like talked with a lot. Maybe someone like maybe Puds or Petra or Book, or also known as Book Teachkey.
I'd love to have Petra on here. I'd feel very bad because I really can't pronounce their name. I've been in VC with them and they've told me how to pronounce it and I still can't do it.
As far as I know, it's Book Teachkey.
Yes,
I might be slightly butchering it.
I know it's a very hard like sound, and I can't really make it when saying a word.
Yeah, as I have like an English linguistics degree, so I like this kind of stuff, like Buch Teachki or something like that. Those people. Gosh, who else? Someone that I'm curious more about. Puds, Petra. I mean, other people like Mick Frags or Mega Gamer or like those circles come to mind as well. Let me just I'm gonna briefly look over like some of my Discord servers and the people who I just happen to know in there, who have a few people who have risen to a little bit of a little bit more prominence recently. Like a couple of artists like Pixel or Alpine or like Speed GS64. Of course, any other any other Brawlhalla partner as well. Especially some of the newer ones as well. I was very excited to have Sunsero as a fellow Brawlhalla partner. So that might be a good one if he's available. Man, what a legend! Sunsero.
I have never spoken to Sunsero, but that's definitely one I'd love to do and love to talk to more. I really want to know about Sunsero because I have zero information. All I saw one day was his art just appear on my feed, and then that was it. Right.
I've interacted with him just a little bit, not a whole lot. Like in the partner server, he's not terribly active there. Just when he's able to. I think he also is a little bit older, and I think he's also into like fitness and other stuff as well. So he could be a very interesting person to talk to if he's willing and able.
Yes. That will definitely be some I'll try and get hold of. There's a couple I want still, but I will definitely see what I can do with and try and make as many of those happen as possible because this is something I want to continue doing weekly still, and so I'm going to hope that I can do those.
I think it's great, yeah.
But
I will say one final thing before heading out. I mean, like I've said before, I always have like project ideas like Brawlhalla D&D and stuff like that or whatever. There is one thing though that's not the Brawlhalla Season 3 Battle Pass that I've been really excited about, but I can't say. I'm just going to say there's something really exciting that I'm going to have announced in the coming week or a few days. I don't know exactly when, but yeah, I'm just saying some exciting stuff's happening.
Okay. Now you've got me excited, because if it's anything Brawlhalla related, it means I just get to see it probably on Tuesday, hopefully. because BMG do all their reveals on Tuesday stuff, and so I'm excited now. You're just bringing up my hype for over the weekend. Like I'm excited for like.
This is more of a this is I mean, this is more of a little more of a personal thing than a BMG thing, but anyway, yeah. I've got some interesting things in the works that I haven't been able to say yet. So
interesting.
But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Been looking forward to this all week. Thank you for having me.
It's been great to have you on here, Baron. Thank you ever so much for joining me, and I will talk to you as soon as I can, which will probably be within, like, of course, the next week or so. I'll probably message you and say something to you. But yes, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have a good afternoon and evening, because it's like mid-afternoon for you, I think. You're like 6 hours.
Yeah, it's about,
half 3.
Yeah, it's like early afternoon for me. So, yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Do I just like leave the call here?
Yeah, you can just leave. You're all good now. Thank you ever so much. It's been amazing to have you.
You're awesome. Take care.